Merab versus O'Malley 2 takes place in about a week's time, and there's not a lot of hype behind it because the fight wasn't really all that competitive, and O'Malley did nothing to earn a rematch. But O'Malley has that kind of lights out power that always makes a match interesting, and I believe that O'Malley actually has a lot of pathways to victory in his rematch against Merab, especially considering he had a pretty severe hip injury going into that fight. I do think Merab still would have won, and I do think he will win the rematch, but today I'm going to discuss sort of where O'Malley can improve in the fight. So, first of all, at the end of the 5th round, O'Malley was able to hurt Merab to the body with a front kick. O'Malley constantly uses this front kick to control distance, and I think if he started to use it to pressure Merab back and use it as more of an aggressive tool and like sort of stand his ground, that'd be very, very effective. He knows that he can hurt the body of Merab, and that long-range weapon will work really, really well, and considering he has his hip fixed, that would work a lot better, right? Also, I think what O'Malley needs to do is he straight up needs to be comfortable in a closer range, almost boxing range. And I know it sounds dumb, but Merab will keep such distance from O'Malley in that first fight that O'Malley had to cover large amounts of distance to come in already. So Merab was able to defend as he could see them coming from far away. Merab kept that distance really well, but I think that's also because Sean doesn't want to get too close. I think Sean needs to accept that he is probably going to get taken down, but he will get back up. He needs to get in a lot closer. Those knees will be a lot easier to land if you're in close and not timing them from all the way out. And also, Merab gets rocked in a good few of his fights. We've seen this against Cejudo and Marlon Moraes. The whole way that happened is from like a 1-2-3 exchange, right? Both of them throw a right hand, then a left hook, and he gets cracked with that left hook. O'Malley needs to not just pot shot or like not just sharpshoot with the striking. He needs to put hands together. And again, it's very scary to do that against someone who wants to take you down. But O'Malley's very good with his shot selection. And I think if he walks into the octagon with the idea that, okay, I'm going to throw a jab, an uppercut, and a hook. I'm going to fake the uppercut, I'm going to go right hand, left hook, and just putting more than one, strike together at a time. O'Malley needs to put multiple together because that's when Merab's striking defense is going to really come apart. We see this with fighters like Jack Della Maddalena and Ilia Topuria. They'll do these long form combinations, and with the 3rd or 4th punch, they'll rock someone and knock them out. And that's generally because, someone will defend the first strike really well, second strike, and then they're not too sure about what's coming next. And I think that's kind of where Merab's getting caught. I think O'Malley needs to mix in his shots, go to the body, then take it up to the head. And because he's so long, he can be a bit safer in that range than someone like a Piotr Jan who will just stand in front. O'Malley needs to prioritize cutting angles instead of just maintaining that distance. He has to go into the fire a little bit, right? If you stay at that kind of range, you're not going to be able to do any damage. And it was very uncharacteristic of O'Malley that in that fight, he didn't really throw a whole lot. You saw glimpses of it in that 3rd round and in that 5th round. He had some good shots, but it was few and far between. The inactivity of the strikes was definitely an issue, and he discovered some good weapons. Again, that front kick, the right punch to the body, he needs to work with that and build off of it, and I know he can. That teep, he needs to use it on the front foot. That's how he was able to hurt Merab, instead of how he normally does when he uses it on the back foot. And then that right straight to the body, he needs to get in there, go with that right straight, and then drill in a left hook up top, hopefully hurting Merab. That's when he can start to pour more shots on. But that's just something I've seen from Merab, where if his opponent goes low then high, it typically does tend to catch him. And also just not fearing the finishing threat of Merab. I'm going to be completely honest, Merab isn't known as a finisher or a jiu-jitsu guy, so O'Malley can give up certain positions, right? We see this with Leon Edwards against Kamaru Usman and against Colby Covington, and even Jack Della Maddalena against Bilal Muhammad. Like, they're not going to submit you, right? Merab isn't, he's not a finisher. He takes you to decision. And I think if O'Malley, keeps that in mind, where he's gonna get taken down, he's gonna get worked, but he's gonna be safe, he'll have a lot more confidence going into that. And that's one thing that I think he needs to. I know it sounds cliche, like, of course, O'Malley is a very confident guy, but whether that be the injury or just the scale of the event, he didn't seem all that confident himself in that fight. And if he walks in there, takes the center space, goes into the fire, cuts angles out on the side to set up good shots, he needs to cut angles on the inside and stand there essentially and be in the fire a little bit, and that'll greatly increase his chances of knocking Merab out. And I actually am quite interested to see this matchup, as if O'Malley is healthy and if Merab is healthy, this can be a very interesting fight, because O'Malley is a very, very skilled fighter, and he's very good on the feet at identifying patterns and finding openings. And I really thought he was going to be able to do that against Merab in the first fight, and he didn't. And I'm starting to kind of understand why. And if O'Malley does implement these strategies, he will have a significantly better amount of success in this fight. He may not win, but he will make it much, much, much closer. The rest of the card for UFC 316 isn't nothing special. We've got Kevin Holland on it, which is cool. Got Patchy Mix debuting, which is nice, but other than that, it's pretty snoozy. Kayla Harrison will become bantamweight champion. It's nothing too crazy. It's a bit of a, an pay-per-view. But then we've got Usman versus Buckley and Topuria versus Oliveira, which I am very, very excited for. But anyway, guys, I cannot wait for O'Malley versus Merab 2. I think, regardless of who wins, I think there's some very interesting matchups in the future. I'd love to see an O'Malley versus Yarn 2 for the belt. That would be incredible. But yeah, that was just my 2 cents on what O'Malley can kind of do in the rematch in terms of like activity and strategies. Let me know your thoughts down below, whether or not you agree, disagree, what other strategies you may suggest to O'Malley. But you guys know the drill. Like, comment, and subscribe.